Textbooks normally present information in a very compact form. They are organized in terms of subject matter rather than to aid learning. They therefore heavily depend on the presence of a teacher to effect learning. Let us look at a classroom, an ideal one perhaps, and see what happens there.
First, is one. Nothing personality development. That's one more thing. You want a better race. Motivation. All these things is yes. Now these things will ultimately promote the productivity of the worker. Now if the worker is expecting this from the business, what is it the business expects from the worker? Better productivity. Efficiency.
What did we notice there? We noticed that the teacher tries to make the text simple and more accessible to the students by providing the following forms of support.
Stating the prerequisites, making the statement of objectives, giving practice, giving feedback to the practice given, advising and suggesting, motivating and stimulating, simplifying the text in terms of language, relating text with the learner's earlier experience.
In addition, the teacher alters the sequence of the teaching points presented in the text and makes it suitable for his audience. By doing so, he restructures the whole material into manageable chunks. But distance students are on their own. Most of the time, during teaching learning process, they are away from their teachers. Thus, the absence of a teacher is very conspicuous in distance education system. By implication, the responsibility heavily lies on the teaching materials. They, therefore, should
make clear what the text contains, provide objectives, give practice, offer study advice, simplify learning, converse with the learners to simulate interaction, help retention of knowledge, help transfer of learning.
If the materials help the students learn, even without the support of the teachers, we call them self-instructional materials. And normally, distance teaching materials are self-instructional materials. But can the materials that the distance teaching universities use be considered self-instructional materials? How much can or do self-instructional materials compensate for the absence of a teacher? What do you think is the effectiveness of self-instructional materials in the distance education system? Let us now look at a few general principles involved in the writing self-instructional materials and see whether they help us produce effective materials. What in fact is involved in writing for self-instructional materials? Few, if any, authors can produce good text materials at the first instance itself. So we should accept the inevitable need to redraft materials many times and provide enough time for this. Redrafting is, in fact, a part of the process of producing good text materials and should not be considered an irritating extra. Many of us perhaps need to revise our materials many times to attain what we call the ideal. Let us look at the one and same paragraph which has undergone many changes before it attains the final shape. What did we notice here? The changes are in terms of the sequence of information, grammatical items, and at times even expressions. As the tutor is away from his students, the materials themselves should unpack difficult concepts, illustrate difficult terms, and even provide skills so as to make the students come to grip with the materials. In order to do this, we should first break up the materials into many manageable and consumable chunks.
The postgraduate diploma program in distance education, for example, consists of 5 courses. These courses are divided into blocks or sets of units. In a descending order, the blocks are divided into units and the units into sections and subsections.
In this way, the materials meant to be covered in the whole year are broken up into many manageable chunks. This helps make the materials easily accessible to the students. Moreover, it helps us decide on media integration. That is, it helps us decide what bit should go in print and what should be given in the form of audio-video programs. So far, we have seen the need for self-instructional materials in distance education system and the general principles of unit design. Now, let us see some of the devices which are used in distance education system to make the materials easily accessible to the students. And we call these devices as access devices. Some of them are aims, objectives, introduction, self-assessment questions and their answers, summaries, headings, typefaces, color of print, etc. The section on introduction introduces the subject matter to the students, and it connects the particular unit with the previous units and the forthcoming units structurally and thematically. The statement of aims articulate what has been presented in the unit in terms of subject matter, and the statement of objectives state what the unit expects the students to do after completing the unit. There is no hard and fast rule that introduction should be presented first followed by aims and objectives, or the vice versa. Look at this unit. We presented the aims and objectives first followed by introduction. Some of us perhaps prefer to present objectives followed by introduction. In this case, introduction, besides linking the unit thematically and structurally with the previous and the forthcoming units, also articulates the aims of the unit. In spite of all that has been talked about the statement of objectives, some of us seem to have some problem in writing it. Let us spend a few minutes on this. Look at the following statements of objectives here. 1. The objective of this unit is to make you aware of the concept of evaluation in education. 2. After reading this unit carefully, you should be able to distinguish different types of tests and describe item formats. 3. This unit will enable you to understand these changing trends in education in the context of India. 4. Given a text, you should be able to transform it into a distance teaching material. 5. After watching this program, you will know how to design SIM. 6. A close reading of the material supplied to you should enable you to define reading clearly. Notice items 1, 3 and 5. They do not have the features of the statement of objectives. What are then the features of the statement of objectives? The statement of objectives should be expressed in behavioral terms, set a condition for displaying that behavior, and prescribe a standard. By behavioral terms, I mean do verbs like distinguish, differentiate, list, etc. If we use words like know, understand, appreciate, etc., it is difficult for you to measure or verify the behavioral change in the students. Yet another device used in self-instruction materials is assessment or in-text questioning. In-text questions should be provided in the text. This helps the students to assess their progress on their own. In-text questions are used in SIM, that is self-instruction material, for various purposes.
Number 1, accomplish the objectives. 2, break the monotony of the unknown text. 3, provide an academic challenge to the students. 4, motivate the students. 5, help them assess their own progress. 6, keep the student on the right track. 7, offer means for revising desired portions. And 8, test recall.
Let us look at some examples now. Think about your own discipline. Imagine you are planning to teach your subject at a distance. List the possibilities and constraints you foresee for course design. In brackets, if you already have some experience of distance education, use this expertise in your own answer. Notes. A. Space is given below for your answer. B. For this question, we haven't given any model answer as it depends purely on your own subject. From this example, we can understand that this question asks the student to relate what they have studied in the text to their own experience. At times, objective matched questions will be given at the end of the unit. Different terms are used to denote in-text questions. So different terms like check your progress, activity, review questions, etc. If through in-text questions you can ask the student to relate the text with his own experience, we can ask him to carry out a survey or any other physical activity. We will look at an example now. Express the following shaded areas as fractions of a whole circle. Instruction. Space is provided for you to write your answer. The in-text questions should indicate
1. What exactly is expected of the students? Number 2. The length of the response. Number 3. How the students can verify their own responses. And 4. Where they should write the answer.
Suppose you give a question of the kind presented here. The students will be very much bewildered. The question is very vague and it does not carry any instructions. The question may be made very clear if you provide instructions like write your answer in the space provided. After completing your answer, compare your answer with the one given at the end of the unit. At times, the length of the response is indicated implicitly by asking the students to restrict themselves to the space provided. Being able to do an in-text question or to carry out a survey gives the students a sense of achievement besides keeping them on the right track. This is important. We should also take care of the placement of the questions. It is advisable to avoid presenting 2 or more questions together at one place. Care should be taken to place the questions at the appropriate places and one at a time. Learners need to be given some standards against which they can assess their progress. In a classroom situation, the learner can check his progress because the teacher is present. But in a distance education situation, the feedback to the questions should be given in the teaching materials. The placement of answers in the text needs careful thinking. We can present the answers
immediately after the questions, or upside down, or at the end of the unit.
Another device we use in self-instructional materials is a summary. For purposes of recapitulation, at the end of every unit we give a summary. At times, we use brief summaries in the text itself. This is used when we glide over from one topic to the other, and this links the topics together. So far, we have seen the following access devices.
Number 1 is 2. Introduction, 3. Objectives, 4. In-text questions, 5. Model answers, and 6. Summary.
We are now able to set prerequisites, formulate objectives, devise assessment items, write feedback sections, and provide a summary. Let us now look at the three main divisions of a unit. 1. Beginning a unit. A. Contents list. It gives an idea to the students about the sequential order in which the materials are presented. B. Introduction. It provides a thematic and structural links to the units. C. Objectives. It tells the students what he is expected to do after completing a particular unit. And D. Study schedule. It provides the students an idea how he might go about in his studies. The second main division of a unit is body of a unit. A. Sections, subsections, etc. We divide the whole material into sections and subsections in order to make the materials into consumable chunks. B. In-text questions. They provide a sense of achievement to the students besides keeping them on the right track. C. Sign guide or signpostings. These are the cues used in self-instructional materials to prevent jumps in the presentation of the materials. So it links one topic with the other. It may be provided either in words or in figures. D. Examples. They are provided to illustrate difficult concepts or difficult words. E. Cross-references, etc. They help the students to refer back and forth to identify where they are. The third main division in a unit is the ending a unit. A. Summary. It helps the students recapitulate what they may have studied earlier. B. Glossaries. They help students understand a particular terms or concepts. C. Objective matched questions. They are provided to help the students see whether or not they have accomplished the objectives provided in the text. D. References. They indicate where the source material is taken. E. Suggested readings. If the student wants to go for further readings, he can make use of these. F. Model answers. They give immediate feedback to the students. G. Assignments. For purposes of continuous assessment, assignments are given. Different typefaces or even colors are used to distinguish one element from the other. For example, different type sizes are used for the following unit heading, section heading and subsection heading. We should limit this to 3 or 4 variations, otherwise it may become cumbersome. Spacing a text, space between lines or words, is crucial as far as ease in reading is concerned. This can be seen in the following example. What is important is legibility. Care must be taken in choice of typefaces and sizes. Besides, the quality of the paper and size of the paper contribute to the attractiveness and the legibility of the text. The size of the page determines the overall visual display. The student should be able to scan and read this display. In self-instructional materials, we provide a broader margins on one side of each page. This helps the students to jot down his immediate reaction to the text presented. And also we use diagrams, charts, etc. in the text materials for better comprehension and easy reference. On the basis of what we have so far seen, we are now in a position to draw up a model. Unit X, Contents, X1, Introduction, X2, Objectives, X3, Section 1, Main Theme, X3.1, Subsection 1 of Section 1, X3.2, Subsection 2 of Section 1, and so on till the end of the section. Self-assessment question. X4, Section 2, Main Theme. X4.1, Subsection 1 of Section 2. X4.2, Subsection 2 of Section 2, and so on till the end of the section. Self-assessment question. And so on till XN summary, followed by glossaries, references, suggested readings, model answers, assignments. If we want to highlight some of the items in the subsections, we can use numbers or alphabets. There is nothing sacrosanct about the model presented here. We can have different models also. We can have a model beginning with
Contents, Aims and Objectives, Introduction. Section 1, Subject Matter, Comprehension Questions, Subject Matter, Activities, Subject Matter, Self-check exercises. Section 2, Subject Matter, Self-check exercises, Subject Matter, Comprehension Questions, Subject Matter, Activities. Section 3, Subject Matter, Activities, Subject Matter, Self-check exercises, Subject Matter, Comprehension Questions, Summary, End of Unit Questions, Assignments.
Or we can have one that starts with the introduction and goes on to
Study Guide, Objectives, Section 1, Subject Matter, Self-check exercises, Subject Matter, Activities, Subject Matter, Comprehension Questions. Section 2, Subject Matter, Comprehension Questions, Subject Matter, Self-check exercises, Subject Matter, Activities. Section 3, Subject Matter, Activities, Subject Matter, Comprehension Questions, Subject Matter, Self-check exercises, Summary, Questions, and Assignment.
These are the patterns around which we design our unit. There may be other models too. The style of writing is also very important. It should be clear and simple, pitching the language at the right level of the students. The style also should be conversational in nature. This will give the students a sense of interaction with the teacher. Let us sum up. So far, we have seen 1. The need for self-instructional materials in distance education system. 2. General principles of unit design. 3. Access devices. 4. Major divisions of a unit. 5. Legibility, attractiveness and style.